Well, hello people, and welcome to Going Medieval. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today I'd like to showcase to you what has quickly become one of my favourite settlement builders. This game has just launched into its 1.04 release version out of 5 years in early access, and has a surprising amount of depth both to its mechanics and the way its simulation runs, alongside an incredibly addictive and very sandboxy creative builder available here if you also prefer that playstyle. The game also has a really pretty art style, alongside some fantastic medieval theme music. So let's check it out, shall we? Alright guys, let's come in and start a new game together. There's a few different options to choose from. The new life is essentially the introduction to the game, with much more challenging options being available in Lone Wolf and Pioneer, should you wish for that. But for exploring the game together, today we'll start with a new life. Which then brings us on to our map selection. So there's a few different types we can choose from: hillside, mountain, marsh or valley. Each of them comes with varying different resource distributions, which are indicated by the colours on the map. You can also re-roll this as well for a slightly more random seed if you like. And I think I like the look of this map here with the river coming down the middle of the map. You can also choose between large, medium and small size maps. I think for this one I'll go for large, gives me a separate little lake and quite a bit of building area here as well. Then we come on to developing our settlers, which is really where the game kind of takes on a little bit of Project Zomboid. So there's a few ways I like to build the first 3 settlers. The skills here at the start are quite important, and I'd probably say the most important initially is going to be animal handling, botany and intellect. These will all be used for various different things. You can re-roll the character here if you want to get a random one, or we can come into advanced customization and actually customize our own characters ourselves. The background up here will give various different buffs. For example, a avant-garde person is someone who specializes in culinary and medicine, giving them buffs to that particular skill. So you see they get the little 3+ buff here, which is indicated by the little 3+ they get from this skill. They also have a number of perks to distribute here as well. So I'm going to re-roll till I find something I like. This one here is not too bad. So my first character, Donald Hyde, is going to be our animal handler. So don't really want him to be involved in art. He also gets a eager boost to animal handling, which will give him a plus 2.5 experience gain. I'm just going to redistribute the points here. Don't need any intellect, you can have no art, and we'll also choose our perks down here as well. So Wise is a really good perk because they get a plus 20% XP gain across all skills, and also Fleet-footed is also quite a good perk. Now these are perks I like to put on every single character, so I'm going to do that while we talk about it. Wise and is it Fleet-footed it's called? What was that perk actually? Yeah, Fleet-footed. Which gives them a plus 20% XP boost and 15% to motor function. This will collide with some other skills, but we won't be using those perks just yet anyway. So I'm going to bring this guy's animal handling up to 10. We'll use someone else for the intellectual research, which is what this skill tethers to, use for research and faster research. And you can also have some skills into botany as well, which will help us with growing things a little bit quicker. 25 animal handling right off the bat isn't bad at all. And I'm also going to give him a few points in mining because we will be doing quite a bit of digging and a little bit of construction as well, just so we can burn those final points. And he can help us do a little bit of building. They also have a religious alignment, but this is really easy to satisfy. There's nothing too much at all there. And you also change their age, their weight and their height, but I'll be pretty happy with this guy, I think. The next settler we want to work with, this guy already has a buff for intellect. Again, we can re-roll this, or you can choose up the perks from the top of the tree anyway. But this character here is actually quite handy, so I think we'll go with this. Again, I'm going to add the perks back in. But they do get marksman and intellect, which is quite good, so we'll remove all animal handling. Meaning smithing and speechcraft aren't massively important for us, so we want quite a lot of intelligence here. I'm going to go for a minimum, I think, of 15. They also get a good buff from carpentry skill as well, so we'll have that. And marksman is also pretty important. Bows are very important for defending from the first raid, so they'll start out with 13 with that plus 10 buff from their skill here. I'm guessing that's coming from the Boyer trait, isn't it? Yes, it is. Plus 10 carpentry and marksman. So that'll be happy for me. I think I'm happy with that there. You don't really need the tailoring, I suppose. I can probably make better use of those points. Let's go ahead and put them into marksman. Again, with those same perks, wise and fleet-footed. And then our last person here, I really want the traits to be within botany, which they currently have already. Smithing is also quite a useful thing to have a buff in, but it's a little bit later toward sort of after the early game. But this guy here doesn't like any art, so we'll take all of those art points away and put these into botany. I think a minimum of 15. I'll also just rework these perks here as well. Realize I did randomly roll them, and I'll bring that one down to there. So at least then we're getting an XP buff for botany and for smithing. So you can really min-max these if you want to sweat out on the other game modes like Pioneer and Lone Wolf. Your character customization is significantly more important. But for right now, I'm getting some nice buffs in very early game basic skills. So we can come to next. It gives us a little breakdown of what's happening. Got our 3 settlers up here. And then we can come on to embark. Really cool feature about going medieval is that the loading screens generate lore around what happens in your settlement. So if you want to stop and read this, then you can pause the video here. Cool. So as we load in, we want to pause the game and we can take a look around the world. Here's that lake we saw. Indeed, we've got a pretty significant valley down to the river there, which isn't something I've ever really had before in the game. But I think that could lead to some really cool building, which is something this game really excels at. So there's a few bits of admin we want to do before we actually start building here. First of all, we want to come into our jobs tab, and here we'll find all the jobs in the village that have to be done. But we want to change everyone as a priority 1 for firefighter, which we can do by left-clicking the name or individually down below. We want to bring everyone up to first priority for firefighting for obvious reasons. Being a patient, which will allow them to wait for wound treatment. Tending will tend to the wounds and carry unconscious settlers if they get hurt out in the wild. And convalescence is just resting after they've been wounded. If you don't do this, they can sometimes just carry on prioritizing their other jobs, for this instance, carpentry, and just kind of bleed to death. So, something we want to do there. And then also coming into manage, we also want to tick self-tend. So they essentially look after themselves without relying on someone else to do it for them. And here we can also set our weapons. We want to make sure that our marksman receives the bow, which is Decima here. So you will be ranged, and then these other guys will just do melee one-handed as well. We can also set them to assign all apparel, but this will make them walk around in very heavy armor when they don't need to. But we're a while away from getting any heavy armor yet, so we don't really need to worry about that just yet. They'll come ahead and grab everything here. Wonderful. So that's all the basic admin done. Let's have a little lay of the land here and just see what we've got going on for ourselves. So there's different layers here. Now the game is vertical. By holding control and scroll, and we can go down through the layers. You'll see we can go deep underground and actually build down there as well, which we will eventually. We'll come on to talk about the food spoilage mechanic a little later. Wonderful. So I think eventually I'd like a bridge spanning the river here. I think that's going to be quite a lot of fun. So first things first, we start with a base supply of resources. There's some things down here. Ale, wood, healing kits, chronicles, which is our research currency. But for right now, we just want to actually allow them access to this, which is done by this little button down here. But now we need somewhere to store this, so we can talk about the food spoilage mechanic here. Well, I guess the everything spoilage mechanic. So I'm going to start building my first house. I'd like it in orbit of the lake here, I think. We'll build here. We've got a nice little open plain here, haven't we? Also with a dead deer. We'll allow access to that. So let's go into our zones, and we'll grab a default stockpile first of all. And I'm going to paint this to be 5 by 5. So a stockpile is where they will store whatever items you tell them to. You can see you can untick or tick them here, break it down into materials, raw materials. But initially, this is what we're going to want. So they put all this here, but we want to put it under some form of cover at first. So this is where we start building our walls. Now let's draw a simple square around here, which will serve as the entrance to our house initially. But for right now, it's just going to be very basic. Now, when we click into this as well, the type of floor it's on also dictates how fast your things will rot and spoil away. So we want to add a wooden floor. And then by hitting Control and scrolling out, we also want to add a wooden roof. Of course, a door into that. And then we can hit play. Our settlers are going to start mooching around here. Walking away. So the reason we want to specialize into animal handling is because we can actually train a number of domestic animals here. Cows and goats will haul goods for us, which makes stockpiling here significantly easier to do. And then we can also recruit bulls as well to fight for us, but that's quite a while away. Bulls can be quite difficult to train. And this is the best bit of the game, really. watching them build. So of all kind of the colony sims I've played over the years, nothing's quite sucked me in like going medieval. The building is fantastic. You can get really aesthetic. There's different rooms we can form with all the furniture. The research tree is massive, which we'll get to. So as they're building this, we want to go ahead and build some more production buildings. We also want a campfire, which is where they'll cook their initial food until we unlock a kitchen. And also the basic research table, which is what's going to allow us to start doing our research. I'm going to place this in the same room. It will be relocated later on. And then also the butchering table, which is something we're going to want for food purposes. And I'm just going to place this next door to this little cabin for right now. We also have a few more buttons down here for harvesting. We can see we have berries and mushrooms. And if you've played one of these colony sims before, you're going to be pretty familiar with this at this point. And then I wouldn't mind gathering some initial wood, so we'll mark these first trees over here to be chopped down. There's also a little cat here as well, for which we can actually add on to vermin control coming into domestic wildlife. We'll see Freya the cat here, and we can actually tick this so she goes on vermin control. And I think I will start training both the goats. You can do that in this screen, or you can also click on the goat itself. You see I have a little train icon above them now. We can cancel that order if we want. And there we go. Donald, who should be our animal handler. There we go. Training attempt successful. The goat is now 14% trained, and once he is fully trained, he will start helping us move raw materials around. So really nice mechanic. Animal handling's pretty overpowered. Will really increase your efficiency. Super. These guys are going to move around over here. And start hauling our stockpile together. We're also going to want a well at some point. So we'll do that while we're here. So the well can be a little awkward to place sometimes. If I can find the thing, there we go. So we want to have it so the center tile is over water, essentially. So we'll do that here. Let's dig out a single tunnel using our mine icon here. And you'll get a sense of how this voxel world begins to behave in terms of how you can dig up or down just by spending time with the game. There we go. Yeah, food reserves are low on the stockpile. That's fine. That's because we're currently building. We should have someone cutting wood over here as well. Yeah, perfect. So we're not the research panel. So coming into our first two workbench or three workbenches here, I suppose, it all works very similar. In the research panel, we want to queue up some chronicles. Now we can set this to make a certain amount. Forever, we'll just keep it ticking over forever, or until we have a certain amount. I'm just going to leave this on forever, because it's going to be something I want to use, not only for research purposes, to grab this first wooden beam, technology here, which is important because stability in structures is a mechanic in the game. But then eventually also coming down to grab agriculture as well, which are our first two immediate researchers. Now within our jobs, we should find our clever intellect person, which in this case is Decima. We want to make sure that her research priority is set to 1. We will always want to be researching. We might need to borrow her occasionally, but for right now, I really want to start ticking over the resources for actually researching here. Same thing with the butchering table. We want to be producing raw meat. Just produce it forever. Anytime we get a carcass, come and process it. And then with the campfire, we also want to produce a simple meal forever. Just anytime you get the base resources, you can click on this to get a list of what counts as primary cooking ingredients. So your basic forageables, berries, beets, Battlestar Galactica, etc. Let's also mark all this stockpile here. Or urgent haulage since our food reserves are low. Donald, you shouldn't be researching there, my friend. So the other ones, I don't really want them to research at all, so I'm going to make it not even a job for them. So no number means they won't even consider it. 1 obviously being the highest priority. So that will ensure that only Decima, who remember is our intellectual themed character, is actually doing the research for us. You can also see our guys down here as well. Yeah, they'll grab their weapons once they put them into the stockpile, essentially. I can't turn the day-night cycle off, so it skews the night time when it does start to get a little dark during the video. And with these down, as we approach the first night time, we also want to give them some beds again. Very temporary structures that will be repurposed into a dedicated chamber room at some point as well. So they're going to haul this in. The stockpile we made will slowly fill up with each item. So let's begin to expand the back of the house here. I'm going to come out in another structure. We'll do 10 here, and then another one on the end, bringing us to 11. And then I'm going to do the same back down here as well. We're also going to want a door through to that next room, alongside a roof, which is really important to make sure they don't get rained on. Now we will have enough support structure here for the roof not to collapse, but you can see as we add the support beam, we get a stability rating. This will be important for the floors above. If we start making this wider, eventually the floors that form the roof won't have enough stability to span the whole distance. So actually making sure your structures physically make sense is quite important here. But I do, however, love a wooden beam for aesthetic purposes, so I'm going to add that in there as well. And we will want another stockpile pretty quickly. So I'm going to add that one in here as well. Eventually what we want to do is dig down into the earth to essentially build our own root cellar to be able to store the food for us. So all these people here moving around. Stockpiling for us. And Decima is already making the Chronicles, which there is 2 research technologies. There's Chronicles and Books. Books are made using the secondary research station here, the research table. But we'll need 30 Chronicles to actually unlock that just yet. Super. So people are coming into bed, doing the last of his jobs, and then they'll sleep through the night. So we will eventually be attacked, and we'll talk about how we can set up a kill box to eventually help defend from that, alongside some other defenses, but the first few raids really aren't that intense. It's maybe kind of raids 5 or 6 where they'll really start to mess you up. So investing down the smithing tree, over here smelting and wooden weaponry is going to be quite important. We'll also get visited by traders every now and again as well. So with this coming in, let's also go ahead and add the next floor on as well. Remember, we don't want things to spoil, so we'll have a wooden floor on the bottom. And it'd be nice to have a area for the goats as well, because these guys are just free roaming around at the minute. So let's come into our wicker gate, which is under our miscellaneous tab here. And let's decide where we want our livestock area. Now I would eventually like a bit of a crop field as well, which our botanist will take care of. We've also got quite a lot of clay over here. I suppose I'll pop this next to the house, I think, next to the butchering table, which will eventually be relocated into a kitchen. To briefly talk about the room mechanic here, so we can see this can be used for a kitchen, which must have at least one stove, 2 wall pottery shelves and a butchering table, which will mean that all your meals get cooked faster if these buildings reside within a kitchen room. So a really nice mechanic. It encourages you to build out your rooms in a particular theme. So let's grab our wicker fence, and I'm going to place this, let's say, 3 tiles off the edge of the house, which, again, this butchering table is going to move eventually. And we'll do 2. We'll have our gate at the front. Then we can draw in a little pen. The animals, as far as I've seen so far, don't particularly have a preference for size. And all they want is a trough, which I'll place 2 of them down just in case they start to breed and multiply. And then we also want a pen marker as well, which will designate an animal enclosure, in an enclosed space at least. So I want to place that there in the middle. Once they get around to that, they will bring it over here, and the goats will automatically snap in. Fantastic. So Decima might be doing a little bit too much research for me right now, so I'm actually just going to downgrade her priority to 2. Her other priority is hunting. Another thing I don't mind doing is making sure that you're our botanist, aren't you? Yeah. So everything that they have the star on, the eager trait, I don't mind making them level 1 in that. Smithing isn't applicable to us yet, neither's carpentry really. Or alchemy as well. They all have passions for research, which would be quite nice because you might be able to rotate them out for different research options, but most of the time you want a high intellect person to be doing the research. Alchemy, yeah, not important to us just yet. Wouldn't mind making, I think perhaps construction a little higher priority for everyone. Which they will still gain construction experience and levels without the traits, but obviously it's faster if they have the appropriate traits for the relevant skill. Which is where you can really start to min-max your villagers to be as efficient as you like, really. Cool. So here, if we click on this food, we can see that it has some information. And the power will decompose and then it will rot, and there's a few contributing factors to this. So there's the temperature of the room, which is much cooler underground, hence the root cellar mechanic. And then also the ground decay modifier as well. This will be dependent on what type of ground it's on. So this food sat here is rotting much more quickly because it's sat on grass and dirt outside, compared to the food inside, which isn't rotting as quickly because it's inside and sat on a piece of wooden floor. So that's really handy. A really fun mechanic as well for actually managing your root cellar. Actually having to build it yourself. And we'll build that sooner rather than later, I think. Yeah, food reserves are low, that's fine. We'll just mark our food for urgent gathering here. Make sure we get this in. It can be quite a lot to manage at the start, just simply because there's so many jobs to do. But this will be fine here. We'll get our cooking up. We can also hunt other animals as well if we can see any on the map. We'll be around here somewhere. He says. Seeing literally 0 wild animals. There you go, there's a fox over here. Which you can also domesticate as well if you want. You can tame them. Taming boar is how you would get them to fight for you. But of course we do not have the means to do that just yet. Because our animal handler is very often wounded trying to tend boar. And we don't want them wounded at all right now. So you can't build in. So when it turns red, it means we're out of resource. So let's go ahead and mark a few more of these trees for felling here. And we currently have 35 cabbage seeds and also the red currants, which we should have. Yeah, there you go. Some boxes of them here. They've just not been collected yet. But for this, I would like to start actually planting some farms. So our cabbage field will have our agriculture to the left of the main building. And I think I'm going to keep it 3 tiles away, and then I'm going to do 3 tiles down again as well, I think. And then I'm going to place these in rows of 5. Although they have to be placed on grassy soil rather than, you know, there's a clay deposit here, so I obviously can't plant cabbages there. And we'll do 5 rows. Perfect. So that'll be our carriage. And then we can also do red currant shrubs as well. And I'm going to do these. And just in rows, your plants can suffer blight, so separating them into rows can be a way to help slow that spread down. Let's make sure we do 5 rows here as well, actually. Yeah, just trim that one back. There you go. So you can see, try and dig that out there now. It's not an appropriate ground type. I'm guessing that because that one there is 100% clay. And which you can see in the very bottom left of the screen here, it gives you the tile details, essentially. So an early garden will keep us fed for a long time. We can also see our troughs being built here. And hopefully the pen marker after this will allow our goats to come in, live happily ever after over here. Perfect. And our roof should be getting built as well. Yes, it is. You see them slowly take it off. And Marjorie should also be our botanist. So let's just make sure she is. Yeah, so the botanist with the highest skill there. She's going to essentially tend all our plants for us. But you can also, speaking about with start, you can make them haul a slightly higher priority as well. Donald is unwilling to haul, so it's not something I really want him to do. But we'll definitely increase the priority of haul on the other villagers as well, I think. There we go, we can see they have their weapons now. We had to change him to melee 2-handed actually, because I think we only have a spear. And then Marjorie, I also want you to grab the shield as well. After the autosave at least. There you go, equip the buckler. So now she has a sword and shield. The guy has a spear, he obviously doesn't need a shield. But that'll be fine for there, I think. Wonderful, so we just need a little bit more wood now. We've probably got enough trees marked for collection here. Nice little time to do some wider admin. Once you're happy with things over here. See, they also dug out this little spot over here, so now we can build the well, which is essential for firefighting. And we want to place that there, so you see how the water droplets on the asset turn blue when it's happy. So we're going to want that over there. And then they'll sleep through the night. That's surrounded by their stockpiled food and hay, berries and whatnot. Wonderful. So in here, we can decide what type of animals we want to keep. For right now, I'm just going to keep it as goats because that's all we have. They should eventually move in there themselves, I think, unless once they've started to be trained. Yeah, there you go. He's just going to move them inside. We are also training you. Yeah, we'll do both of them. Leisure activities is also something we want to address as well. So coming into our Sims, there's a left and right religion. We have a mix of both, so we're going to want both shrines available. So for this instance, we'll come in and grab both. One is a restitutionist, and the other one is the Oak Brethren. I want to place these a tile either side of my front door. That way they can satisfy their religious worship right outside once they wake up. But it's also a nice little bit of design and symmetry, I think. But this game really has thoroughly pulled me in. Of all the ones I've played, Farthest Frontier, Mana Lords, which you can't really judge Mana Lords against a 1.0 release because it's still obviously in its early access phase. But yeah, it's the building here, the art style, the graphics, just everything about it is really wonderful. It's really thoroughly enjoyable game that I can't stop playing. It's very much fun. Hopefully you'll enjoy the start we play here together. But the well's going up. That's great news. She's also planted some berries over here as well. Let's go ahead and make some more berries available for collection. Because the berries here actually function as the seed. Do we have any other types of berry? It's just ivy. There is a few of them. Although I'm not seeing anything other than red berries. It would be nice to plant the other ones. Sure they'll be around. Yeah, there's a gooseberry there. So we'll do that. Yeah, all these berries. And we already have a merchant already. And Decima has just gone up a construction level, which is very nice. Also in leisure, there is essentially a hoop kind of boss game, I guess, is how you would describe that. Just something for them to do. And I'm going to place this. Should we go? Maybe just next to the house is going to be fine there, I think. Here is the merchant. We can grab Donald. And we'll come and trade with Catherine. Just with a right click. Now let's see what you've got. So the traders, we can filter for what they have just by clicking on the top left here. And we do want to grab some things from these. Now we don't have... We've got 40 books to sell so far. Books are a really viable trade resource. But I do want something from you. I want all of your flax seeds. Flax is really important for when we get into the winter, something we want to grow, so we have it stockpiled. Beets, yeah, I wouldn't mind some more seedage. We have cabbage growing, I wouldn't mind some carrots as well. Cider and stew we can make ourselves. And we could also invest in quinces and apple saplings quite early. Which again is more food, which is really good. I'm going to do that, and then I'm just going to sell them a little bit of hay and some books. So the trade balances out, which you can see it does once the accept icon lights up. So we give them 3 books, which of course Decima is researching for us at the research table. And then the flax seed and the beet seed coming in as well, alongside the carrots. So we'll get these planted straight away. So we bought an apple tree and a quince tree. So, and where do I want to keep expanding the botanical garden here, so to speak? We'll have an apple tree there, and then we'll put the quince tree next to it. We can also grow our own trees for reforestation purposes, which we will need to one day because, you know, we will eventually burn through all these trees. Donald's doing a little bit of fishing out here too, which you can do via the icon over here. Different types of fish. We got trout. I'm pretty sure you can fish for pike as well. Maybe they're just in the rivers. There's eels over here. So a few different food varieties. So the merchant will hang around your house for a little bit. So still waiting on these tiles up here to be built. But there is one thing we want to do for that actually, and that's actually bringing a staircase, because obviously we want access to the second floor. And I think I'll do that in these 3 tiles here. So we'll cancel the build order there. And then I'm going to come in with some straight wooden stairs. And I'm going to place those there. Obviously it's red right now because we don't have the wood. Might want to prioritize wood just a little bit. It'll be under cutting plants. Yeah, that's our botanist that likes to do that. He's also level 10 botanist, which isn't horrendous. Fishing is his highest priority. I'm also going to make animal husbandry high priority as well, alongside chopping trees, because that's quite an important job. Timber is massively important in the early game, so something you want to address. So you can see here where we don't have the roof on, that the tiles underneath are actually getting wet here. So that's why the roofs are really important, as much as the floors really. Otherwise your Sims will get very unhappy. Fantastic. Marjorie is planting all of our red berry bushes and cabbages here. That's great news. Really love to see that. There's a wolf in the house. Okay. That's fine. So he's domesticated apparently. Oh, is he? No, he's not trained, is he? No. Okay. We could hunt the wolf. He's not going to attack the goats here. But he's not doing any harm really, is he? I'll just leave him in there for right now. Right, wonderful. So let's come in to map out what is essentially going to be a kill box for the first room. So the main house, at least until we get to building a castle, if you guys want to see more going medieval, let me know down in the comments below. I only want one way in, so that way when the raiders come, they will always come to this door because there's not multiple entrances around the building. So I'm going to place a wooden wall here. Up at the front, 4 of them, and then another wooden door. So there's a single tile of space between the 2 doors here. This will function as a kill box. And then above this, with our wooden floor, I just want to draw out essentially a little platform, a little veranda for them where they can walk around here, okay? And off the back of that, we can come into our warfare, our defensive structures for the first time. And we want to place a wooden merlin. It will offer them protection from the scroats down below. I'm just going to draw this around the edge. I'm going to make a little bit of a balcony out of it, I think. Something like that. And then the wall of the second floor will begin from there. Of course, with a wooden door. And maybe a window either side of that as well. Cool. So this will essentially be our first defensive position. We place our archers either side of these tiles. They'll shoot down and eventually in. Really decimates the first few raids. Very handy tactic to have that one. Also got some research available. We can get some basic furniture, which will give us beds and bookshelves, which would be welcome sooner rather than later. So I'm going to grab them as well. I think I might even relocate the research table now, because I eventually envision turning this first room into a library. So the library does want the research table, some bookshelves as well, alongside the scholar's lectern, which is unlocked down here on the second research tray. Research table missing? Yep, that's fine. That's because we've just done that. We really want to get some trees cut, so I'm going to de-incentivize harvesting and growing for right now, so these guys will go and cut some more trees for us. Timber's enormously important at the start, pretty much throughout the rest of the game really, until you move to clay or limestone structures, which you will for your main castle, unless you want to stick wood all the way, of course, you absolutely could. Decima's going to build up here. And because we've moved the research table, we need to re-queue the forever research table. See, they're building all this now. And you can just watch it go up. The weather effects are fantastic. You can have massive lightning strikes that will come down and decimate your building. It's very traumatizing. It's happened to me a few times, that. Yeah, so we did unlock some new furniture. So the wooden chairs will be used in a great hall, which we'll build. Probably not today. And then wooden hay beds are much better than the sleeping ones. But honestly, I'm going to just let this construction work finish before we queue up any more. All this wood here is going to get gathered. Some berries over here as well. So in terms of an eventual castle, I think it'd be very cool to probably feed it across the river, right? have some sort of bridge structure spanning the gorge, and then have the castle fort up either side of it, perhaps. That'd be quite a lot of fun. See, they come to create their little shrines. We can add some lights around here. Any option that has a plus next to it has a variant. So we can add a wall torch in. I'll do that. And I'm also going to do it on the inside as well. Just so they get some light. Can't imagine it's too far of everyone's bedtime. If you do think they're not doing enough work, you can manage their schedule here as to what time they wake up and do things. And we can also assign roles to Sims as well. So once they reach certain levels, for example, at some point we'll make Decima our intellectual Sim. She will eventually become a librarian, which will give her the unskilled labour trait, as you would probably expect. But it'll specialise them in their role a little bit more. So there's a surprising amount of depth you have to actually managing and controlling your Sims, alongside actually building your world. It's really fun. So you see we just created a shared chamber. That's because this room just got finished. So now this is inside a shared chamber, right? Eventually we build them their own rooms, but of course we want the wood and the timber to actually do that. Which is very nearly done now. Fantastic scenes. Everyone's gone to bed. Beside Donald, who's just getting one more thing done. Beautiful. So we can start to look at our library in here now. But first of all, I wouldn't mind... Yeah, I didn't massively specialise anyone into mining. It's going to be Donald, really, who's also our animal handler, so he's not going to be busy all the time. So he's probably going to be our best miner. So all this food, I want to get it into a root cellar. So let's begin to set that up. So we'll have a separate side room that comes off from here. This will be a door into the back rest of the house. And I'm going to dig 3 squares out here. Like we did for the stairs here. We're going to have another staircase there. I also want 4 because we're going to have somewhere to land. And then I'm going to double back and dig out those 4 next door where the staircase will essentially U-turn to go back underground. And then here, I'm going to dig out a bunch of room. Although, that might be a little too low. I'm just going to wait until they build that first, and then we'll see what else we need to dig out. So the point of doing this is to build a root cellar, so our food doesn't spoil as quickly. And we'll also make sure that mining isn't too far down anyone's priority list. We'll make it number 2. Yeah, look after the animals. Fishing isn't massively important for us right now. We're going to have plenty of food with the crop garden, so we can... Even though he is getting an XP boost from doing it, it's fine. We'll just let him dig a little more now. Which you can see him doing here. Donald is digging away. That does create us dirt piles, which takes up a lot of room in the stockpile, because we're going to create a lot of dirt. So it can be worth creating a waste stockpile, which is another type under our menu here. Just for holding all kind of the bulk raw material storage. So, where do we want to put this? I want to leave room for the garden to expand. Maybe just over here by this little ditch. We'll do a 6x6, and then this will be set up to only store waste. But I'm also going to let it store materials as well. Specifically raw materials rather than manufactured or textiles. Because again, we want them to be stored inside so they don't rot as quickly as they probably would without. And also, we also chewed through all that wood. So we'll mark some more trees for deforestation here. I eventually envision some kind of path or bridge here. So someone's changed religions here. The Oak Brethren faith decreased slightly. But it's fine. I've not really noticed too much interaction with the religion mechanic, to be honest. It seems to be there just to keep the Sims happy. But that's fine. Start cutting down some more wood so we can get this built. You can see we're able to place our staircase in here now. So we'll have that there. And then we can see where we're going to want to dig down again underneath. So I'm just holding control and scroll there, and you'll move through the layers. You can also use the more than or less than keys on your keyboard to do that. But who doesn't love a keyboard shortcut? They're back researching now, are they? Yeah, that's fine. Also within the internal stockpiles, I'm going to ban raw material storage. So click on it there. Just so then all that dirt is forced to be stored outside. They'll eventually get around to doing that. Just so it doesn't take up viable interior floor space here, because we don't particularly care. Well, dirt obviously won't rot anyway, but just slightly more efficient, I suppose. I'm going to put one more to dig out there, and then we can complete the second one. A little bit of animal handling. We're already up to 34% on the goats. That'd be great once they can haul for us. It'll save our Sims having to do it. And we can place our second U-turn staircase down here now as well. With a little bit of wooden floor on the landing. And then here is where we want to dig out on this layer now. And I'll dig out, I think, to the width of the building. Yeah, we'll do that. So all of this can dig out, and this can be our initial root cellar here. So when you're digging underground, you also want to make sure you're not going to affect the stability of structures above it by removing their foundation, which is where your wooden beam comes in for supporting the floors and ceilings of various different layers throughout your base. And you can see with this mechanic now and this whole kind of like voxel world building just how crazy you can get with the builds. You can build massive forts, huge castles, all fully customizable with different textures. So it's honestly an enormous amount of fun. This game has thoroughly sucked me in. I'm also going to go ahead and complete the second floor wall here now as well. It's not a massive priority, but we'll get use out of it. This is possibly where we might put the bedrooms. Or even some more workstations up here. We'll see what transpires. And then after that, of course, also a roof for this section of the building too. And we'll sleep through our night. And apologies, it might be quite dark with the YouTube processing after the fact, but there's no day-night cycle mechanic off here. There could be a mod. But, yeah. No dice here, unfortunately. We keep gathering the wood. So we're building our staircase down to the root cellar now. Wonderful scenes. Let's just have a little look around the world here, make sure we're not missing anything. We're starting to get some decent stockpiles now. We could also plant some carrots. And we should have the botany skill for them. Yeah, it requires level 10 botany, which is why it's important to come in, I think, with someone with at least 10 botany, because all the crops and trees will be locked off to you otherwise. Within the crops, you can also set their growing rate here as well when you want to plant them. So we're going to start building up our second walls here. So I think we'll do a bit of detailing. Here we can change the wood texture. So I'm going to have it to these exposed logs on the corner, I think. And then every block in the middle. Can I change the ones that haven't been built yet? Yes, I can. I'm going to set them to this other type of design, which has no gameplay impact, but very much a visual impact, I think, in terms of just a little bit more customization. A little bit of a change in texture in any game is always welcome, isn't it? And it can take quite a long while for things just to tick over because they have so much to do. Making sure your priorities are also balanced. Decima does hit construction level 9, which is good for us. Training attempt successful on both the goats. They're up to 44% now. Now with the dung piles. We can store that, but what I prefer to do with it is eventually turn that into fuel using the clay brick making in the kiln, which we don't have unlocked yet. Destiny, I'm going to bump your research back to 1, just because I do want to be constantly researching. We have a new settler. Elma appeared sheepish. Can I come inside? There are these bards I want to avoid. Weirded by wordplay and loot practice, Elma gave the performance a bad review. I just wanted a bit of peace and quiet, he explained. Will you grant Emma entry? It may come at a price. So, archers and, well, 2 marauders and an archer are going to attack us because of he's going to join us. And his character trait, he's very good at construction and smithing and melee, so he's not a bad character at all. So of course, we're going to accept him, which brings Elma into our world. He's currently wounded, and we want to do the same thing we did at the start. We want to change all his priorities to 1 for the first 4, and then also tell him to self-tend as well. He's going to come in. We now, of course, need another bed. I'm going to throw down another sleeping post here. Hay sleeping spot. Get that built for him. And then we'll also check his priorities as well. So Elma is master construction. Construction will be 1. And he also has passions for research and alchemy. He has no art passion either, so we'll just totally remove art from his job pool. And increase cut plants as well, and mine. His mining is only level 1 though, isn't it? Which isn't really good at all. We'll let him be our main construction person. That's his highest skill, so we'll just further specialize him into that. He is currently wounded. What traits does he have? He has suffers from gout or flux, rashes or spasms. His constitution is very feeble. Minus 25% wound generation isn't brilliant. He is, however, also wise, which gives us the 20% XP buff we're also very fond of. And he's also callous. He's unmoved by human mortality. Flesh is a mere commodity once the soul has fled. Dear me. Brutal outlook on life, isn't it? But with Elma, we're also going to have bandits attacking our first days, which is where we'll use our balcony to defend from. So that should be no problem at all. Hopefully we'll start to dig this out soon. It might be worth making mining slightly higher priority for some. And what else are you? So the guys just became friends because they have good conversation with each other. Villagers are getting on. I think I will make Donald's mining priority 1. Just so we can dig out the root cellar. And get some proper storage arranged for us. On the first day. Cool, another nighttime rolls around. We do have 1 research available. Fermentation will allow us to produce alcohols and cheeses from vinegars. But it's not the most pressing. Next one I probably want to go for is going to be clay brick making. Because that'll allow us to start recycling fuel. Or dung into fuel, rather. Let's go ahead and start collecting all this stuff over here as well. There's lots of sticks and stuff down on the floor here. Which we will use, I think just to play the game somewhat aesthetically, because I can't help myself. And we can place a wicker floor, which rain and snow will fall through, so it's not something you want to use as a roof. But I think it does look quite nice. Almost as like little walking pathways between the crops. So I'm going to bring this down. Now we do have clay there, which is super awkwardly positioned. We had a massive clay deposit over here, didn't we? Yeah, so I'm likely to get my clay from here, I think. Let's also allow them access to these clay piles that spawn on the map, just so we have a brief stockpile before we start mining our own. And then I want to grab the wicker floor all the way around the edge and up through the middle. So they will move slightly faster on these floors you lay down. But the wicker floor isn't any significant major increase, it just looks quite nice. I could also put a little fence around the garden here as well. Which would be another way to use up the sticks, which we'll have absolutely loads of. So I'm just going to join a little fence here. I may be able to dig that clay out so we can get the final row in. I think aesthetically it'd be really disappointing not to, but we need to unlock the terraforming research tree before we can actually place dirt into holes we dig. So I think I'll wait until we've got some free research points to do that. And then the fence can come here. Saving gates for the middle. Apologies if you heard that massive thud. Coco just basically threw us out on the floor. So they'll build this. Also keep our eye on when the raid is going to come as well. There we go, Marjorie's already up to level 29 botany now, which is great news. She's going to be super efficient in just managing all our gardens and food production for us. Do we have any herb seeds? No, herbs would be nice. Got carrots waiting to be planted over here. There we go. Let's see the lay all that down. Donald is now digging out the root cellar, which is where we'll set up our food storage initially. And you can grow some really quite vast underground structures in caverns and just like bunkers, essentially. Detail them with walls. It's just honestly a ton of fun. Cannot recommend this game enough to you all, everyone. Thoroughly enjoying it. Let's go ahead and get clay brick making as our next technology, which will give us the kiln clay. Or the clay kiln, I suppose, is the way to say it. So if we just put this outside, it's going to get a bit of a debuff, about 20%, especially when it's exposed to the rain. So we can almost build like a little outdoor kind of work hut, if you like. So I think that's what I'm going to do here. So with the garden, I'd like to leave enough room for a pathway. We don't have any limestone yet, do we? No. We'll likely find limestone as we're digging underground, although there is deposits of it here already. Did I see one over here earlier? A big limestone deposit? You're not going to find vast amounts of every resource in every map. It's kind of the challenge that comes with playing them. Yeah, nothing over here. There's a high chance we could run into limestone underground here while we're mining. This seems to all be dirt. But that's fine. It will get there. So with that in mind, I think we'll probably go clay tiles instead of the limestone then, since clay is a little bit more readily available to us. I'm going to have a wooden wall here. And then I actually want to place my clay kilns so I know they're going to fit. I'm going to do 2 of these. And have them there. And I'm likely to want some more structures or more workstations out here as well. So I'm going to place them. We also want a wooden beam across all of these. So we can place our roof on it. And the roof will give us the cover we want, so these workstations aren't debuffed by just being exposed to the elements. You could, of course, put them inside as well, but yeah, I don't really want them in here, right? Goat's coming up to 53% trained now, that's great news. And we'll just wait for our search party to arrive, and wait for the last of these jobs to be ticked off as well. Elmer has a wound. How did you do that? He ate some raw food. Let's also manage him as well. You can also be a ranged person. So he hurt himself somehow. I'm not sure how he did that. But now he's convalescing, right? He's resting. Looks like he might have eaten some raw food. Which you guys should be cooking at the campfire. I'm wondering if you're missing fuel. Yeah, because we don't have a lot of fuel stockpiled because all these sticks are still out here, which is the easiest early game fuel because you'll get tons of sticks from cutting all the trees down. Level 11 mining for Donald Hyde as well. So there's almost a little bit of Project Zomboid kind of character creation and management with the skills here that allow your settlements to flourish much more effectively. So it's a real mix of games, honestly. I'm so happy to see such a wonderful, enjoyable project come out of early access. So it looks like the raiding party is going to arrive while everyone's asleep, which is a bit of a pain. Donald might be able to get an hour's sleep here. We also need to put a door in here, don't we? I forgot that. There we go. Back inside. Although I think I'm actually going to clear that because I want this door to be isolated in the next room behind. If we do that now, they will actually arrive. Will come in the back door, which is not what we want. So they should arrive imminently. Any minute now, right in the middle of the night is a real pain. Or actually they send a negotiator first. So you can just ignore the negotiator. But for gameplay purposes, I will send someone out to him. So this guy is essentially turned up to say, give us Elmer back. We can't negotiate with Elmer because they're the ones pursuing him. So we'll come over here. So we can also see our Sims are all super happy right now because we've set them to do jobs that they love and have passions for. So they're getting buffs from, you know, they eagerly did something because he has the eager trait on the jobs. So specialising the Sims will also make them happy as well. So Marjorie is going to run over, say hello to our Lena, I suppose. We can make them an offer. Or, you know, send them back, but I want to keep Elmer because he's now my miner. So we will refuse to bow to their demands. You stood your ground, refusing to give in to the demands. The attackers leave, but your relationship with the bird Simreg, that's a very Welsh-sounding word, has worsened. Okay, so it doesn't look like they're going to attack. They don't always attack, sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. Higher difficulties, of course, they will. So she's going to swim across the river here. Come back up these slopes. So it doesn't look like they will attack actually, which I'm fine with that. That's easy for me. Marjorie's missed out on a lot of sleep. I think she's going to get a bit more shut-eye before the workday starts, which is great. Roof is also going up here now as well. And I wouldn't mind mapping out a roof on this building as well. I definitely want, I think, the second floor. Although I am going to put some wooden beams in this room. I'm going to do them 4 tiles from the edge of the wall. So that's 3 tiles there, so 4th tile in, essentially. We still got quite a lot of resources knocking about, so I think I'm going to set everyone's priority to haul. For one, apart from the guy that absolutely hates it, you never have to haul. Likewise with urgent haul as well. I'm going to slightly prioritize urgent haul, just so we can have the resources actually in the stockpiles than, you know, having to run all the way out here. But it's a slow burn, everyone. It's a slow burn. I think just sit down, enjoy the scurry. Manage your initial start, and there's no need to stress here in this game. Unless you're on Lone Wolf, in which case you start with 1 settler. Which I'm sure after the first hour of this video you can see just how challenging that game mode probably is. Intellectual skills now up to level 21, that's really good news. I don't think it's going to be too long now before our root cellar is done. So you can really start to map out quite elaborate underground cabins by planning here, but again I don't want to give them too much work to do at once, just so we're not overwhelming them. And these stockpiles here will go downstairs. And then we can have a look at also forming our first room as well. Wouldn't mind making this into a library eventually. Which is edging closer. Tailoring is really important for the winter. We are still, however, in spring, so I can probably hold off on that. Likewise with wooden weaponry. Getting to javelins is quite a nice unlock as well. but we do need this second research for that. So I think I'm going to hold on for the books so we can grab the research table, which Decima will also manage. It's the same intellectual skill to research the books as it is the chronicles. Elmer is still convalescing. He's upset with his apparel. What are you wearing? Flimsy winter clothes. Okay. Don't think we currently have any other clothes about. Did we get any flax yet? We did get flax, which is something I want to grow. Now we've planted the carrots here. What I think I will do then is I'm just going to clear this stuff here. And then just leave one side of the fence open, or the garden rather, so we can just continue to expand it in this initial early game. So we'll come back to our fields. I'm going to do flax fields here. And in there again as well, once it opens up. Save another tile for the wicker pathway to come through. A bit more flax in there. I think with so much food here now, we should probably be alright. I suppose I wouldn't mind another row of red currants. Yeah, I'll do that. And again, for purely aesthetic purposes, I'm just going to drag the wicker floor around my crops so it looks nice. Literally no other reason. That's the only reason why. That's fine. But as long as we've got flax in, because as we see, once we unlock tailoring anyway, winter clothes are really important in the winter. They'll get very unhappy once their clothes deteriorate literally off of their bodies. Food reserves are also low on stockpile as well. That's fine. Let's do a little bit more gathering. There'll be plenty of berries, mushrooms, herbs, possibly some more fishing as well. We've probably, yeah, that's marked up. All these berries, just mark them for harvest. We'll come and drop them in the stockpile. Another massive berry stockpile there as well, right by the door, so make sure we grab that. Now, our roof is nearly done here as well. We can also change decals on the roof, which makes it a little bit more interesting, I think. To have your ends look a little differently. Although we can do here. Yeah, I think I might do the whole roof section as that one then. Since it's a even number, it won't properly distribute. I don't know if did we grab that clay yet? No, it's still over here. Marjorie's sorting the garden. I've got the lighting as well, right? It's like volumetric lighting. It's a really stunning looking game. Built on Unity as well, I think. Would really love the goats to be trained sooner rather than later. They're nearly there, 60% now. They'll really help with hauling all this stuff around. I'm going to go ahead and grab Research 2, which is fantastic news. This also gives us the research table, which is going to give us books. Again, the research table, it can be used as part of a library, so we're going to have that in there. Yeah, you guys shouldn't be storing dirt in here. It's fine, I can make it do. Oh, here we go. This is a perfect example. You see we had a collapse here because we didn't have the support underneath. So this is a perfect opportunity to show off the support mechanic. So we need wooden beams down here. So that's a great example of what I was talking about. So no support underneath, stability rocks, and then the floor will fall through. That will happen on every layer as you move up and up and up, so it's why the wooden beams play quite an important role. And why you wouldn't want to build pretty vast underground caverns without support beams in. Well, I think I'll do a more elaborate support beam here. I'll leave 3 tiles this side. Eventually opening up, I think, a third here. Something like that. So it's 3 tiles either side then. And then I'm going to put the support beams off of this central pillar. But we'll put that last one in once this last one's been dug out, of course. It's a really cool mechanic. It makes you think about how you're going to plan, what kind of supports you're building. So when you're building these seriously elaborate stone and clay castles, it can be quite the challenge. I'll replace this floor in once I have the stability beneath with all this stuff here. Animals are hungry, that's fine. They should go and eat themselves. The troughs are stocked. Elmer's doing an awful lot of convalescing. He's got mild concussion. With the actually moderate severity as well. And he's got that for 54 hours. Jesus. So Elmer is a little bit useless until he sorts himself out. And you can see the animals just ate there. They should feed themselves. But yeah, we've got quite a lot queued up for them here now. So I'm just going to let them tick over. And we'll report in with anything serious. Super. So our root cellar is now built here. We actually had some more tiles collapse. You can see them here. But now we can fill them in again. Because we have the stability for it beneath. And then down here we want to create a generic stockpile. And I'm basically going to fill the whole floor space. Pretty much. There. And then this is really just for food. Any and all food can be stored down here. And in the same breath, also not allowing food to be stored here either. So we'll create a more generic storage eventually. But for right now, we'll just have it on the floor here. It's a little bit rough and ready, but things take time here. Also out of wood. Let's order some more tree felling. We can't get down here. Oh no, we can, yeah. There's a ramp over here. See where they can get down on the slope. Yeah, and then also these trees. Everything can be cut. We do actually have the sticks to build these pathways, but again, because they've not been gathered, they're all down here. People are busy elsewhere. No, they just take a while to get in. To make a library, we do need the Scholar's Lectern, which is 5 books away. We haven't started making any books yet because the research table isn't finished. But hopefully we'll have an extra pair of hands once Elmer decides to pull his finger out from his minor concussion. He's taken a while there, isn't he? So it's kind of a double-edged sword really to accept a new Sims. Sometimes they can be have really powerful traits and skills, but they can come in severely injured and take a few days before they even start to work, really. So these guys are cutting all the trees down for us. Great stuff. And we just need the clay for this. So I think I'm going to urgent haul some of this clay, which I think has actually already been urgent hauled. We just don't have a ton of people doing urgent hauling. We'll set Decima to do it, because we're getting quite a lot of books now, so she can afford to chill out on the research tab. Even though they are really useful, because we're constantly unlocking new things, and when traders come up, books are probably the easiest thing to sell. There we go. There's our store back in. Did we miss out a tile there? I think we did, didn't we? Slap that on in. And Elmer has finally gotten over his concussion, and he's finally pulled his finger out. As he builds us the secondary research table. So it's super similar to what we do with the normal one. We just want to save forever and just have Decima, who's up to 21 intellect now. We also had our botanist hit 30 botany now too. Which is quite a tad. It probably could have distributed her skills a little better. I'm still getting used to the meta here with the skills. But, there are ways to min-max, of course. We don't see our berries here as well now. Ready for harvest. Which we do need. Food stockpiles are low, but there's so much going on right now. They're just taking a while to get things done. Where everyone's gone back to bed. Our goats are up to 89% training now, so they should train up on the next cycle. And they've also had a couple of babies. You got Zeno down here, who I think we will train the babies. I'll probably have 4 domestic goats, and then any livestock production that falls away from them, we will probably use them for food. But we'd also do some hunting. We'll mark the deer over here for that. And who's currently set to hunt? Decima, who has a high passion for it, so she'll get 4 times more XP for doing that. She's also very good at the woodworker's bench and the boyer's table as well. But we're a while away from getting boyers yet. People here are coming to eat. You should be cooking, but it doesn't look like you're getting enough fuel. I think that's purely because we don't have tons of fuel in the stockpile. Some sticks over here, but my yearning for aesthetics has probably slowed that down by wanting wicker floors in between my crops. Let me see, we're going to come in here. Our amazing botanist Marjorie's going to harvest all this, claiming all the experience for herself rather than splitting it out across all the different sims. Or villagers, I suppose, in this instance. So this should keep us fed for quite a long time. And I also want to build a better floor down here for our food stockpile as well. It shouldn't be too long. I think we do have some clay mounting over here now. Yes, we do. And once those goats are trained, oh, there you go. As I speak of it, they start to build it. Yeah, I want clay tiles on the floor. So we're going to build clay tiles with these kilns here. Our little outdoor shed. If you want to hide the roofs, there's a toggle for that up here, so you can see down below. Very similar to the Sims, really. And then with each of these, we're going to have one producing clay bricks forever. So we'll go through quite a lot of them. Oh, a new sim. Theodric approached with his hand held out warm and an open smile. Theodric was keen to learn about Othorpe, and only too willing to lend a hand. All he asked was a safe place to call home. He's another good botanist. And a decent smith. I mean, I'm reluctant to say no to early settlers anyway. But an extra botanist on hand is going to be welcome. And again, just like the last person, he's going to need a bed. So we'll take up that last spot there. And it's probably worth considering a bedroom sooner rather than later. But I just want to make sure these jobs get done first. Do we have some flaxseed? Yeah, they should sow it. Hey, as I say it, they come in and start sowing it, don't they? Of course. Okay. Get that done. And then in the other one, we want to do dung bricks, which will turn all the dung we're getting from the goats over here, and with a little bit of hay, into essentially endless fuel. So again, as soon just make them forever. As soon as the hay and dung are available, turn it into fuel for us. Great stuff. So let's check out Theoric. We want to do the same thing again. Priorities to 1 for the first 4. He does have a few passions. He likes to grow, harvest, and cut plants. Well, you will be our primary cutter then. You can also be our main smith, since your skill is higher than Marjorie's. And harvesting and growing, sure. Be number 1. He can also start sharing the botany XP with Marjorie. What is it we need to make coal? Just wood. I don't really want to burn through the wood just yet though. What fuel is it wants for here? Yeah, it will use sticks for fuel. I think there's just a bit of a backlog, isn't there? I've got all this food out here. Come and gather all this stuff on urgent haul. Some more berries over there. Fish have been mostly removed from there. Now we've got most of that clay. There's a few resources forbidden over here as well. Let's get those. Animal handling now to 27. Great news. 98%. Seriously? Come on. You're basically there, right? It's fine. Wonderful. So you see our food coming down here now. So it's decomposing badly because it's on the ground, of course. We really want to change that. But I really would rather wait for the clay tiles to become available. I'm not sure how possible that's going to be. Not enough limestone there either. Could use wood floor. It's just not as efficient as keeping the food from rotting away. Yeah, I think for this first root cell then I'm just going to do wooden floor because I don't want it to start going horrifically bad. Marjorie has gained the perk Early Bird. Is she really? Marjorie relishes getting to work at daybreak when the first cock crows. An early bedtime is essential. She will lose sleep depletion at plus 25%, but balance that out with a recovery speed of plus 45%. Also got some researchers available to us as well. We're still fairly off the winter here. Wouldn't mind getting terraforming. So I think I'm going to just save up those books until we can afford it. Theodoric is, or Theodoric, I guess is his name, is happy because he's doing what he loves, as is Elmer. So we've not got a bad balance of skills between all the people now. Most of the early game essentials are covered. Probably we're missing mining, which our highest level is 12. It's also a pretty important early game skill, I think. So they'll come out, they'll do a little brief bit of worship. And everyone should be happy here. How much clay do we have in the deposit? 216 now. Yeah, it's fuel that's lacking from our stockpiles. That's why the campfire and the kilns are taking so long to burn. But you can see them now collecting the mass bundles of sticks and wood down here. We should hopefully get the goat trained today as well, which would be nice for the first day of summer. You okay, man? Building cannot be reached. That's fine. We will instead build up. Do we want to take this to another floor? Probably do. So our next set of stairs are merged there. We'll have another one immediately after it. Yeah, okay, I think we'll do that. So it's those 3 tiles there on the edge. We'll remove them. So I kind of think did they fall away for lack of support? Or did I forget to place them in? Yeah, there you go. See, it tries to place it. So it's too far from the stable structure. So that probably tells me we need another wooden beam in here. Which aren't going to be equidistant, but I can deal with that. And that's probably why that floor fell away. So we can see now the food has lost its ground decay modifier. And we're currently in the orange, which is less than 6 degrees. Also gives the temperature up here as well. Cool. Those floorboards have been removed. So now we can put the next set of wooden stairs in. Berries are available for harvest again. Go ahead and do that. And the carrots. Very nearly done. We've got an apple tree over here as well, which won't yield for a few days just yet. Another night will fall, and we're starting to get some fairly tidy food stalls now. Especially the red currants. There we go. 2 pets have been trained, so let's go into our overview. And then while domestic, We see the two goats now have an option to haul for us. So both goats here, Dandy and Lasalo. We'll put them to haul. We can assign them to a villager. If we don't, they will just kind of generically haul. So you'll see goat comes here. He's going to pick up all that stuff for us. We're going to drop it in its relevant stockpile. And domesticated animals will also chill inside. And we should also give these guys a brazier as well to help keep them warm and happy. We'll come into our furniture. We'll grab a clay brazier. I'm going to have this right in the middle. Just there. Perfect. And I wouldn't mind building another outdoor storage as well, because I want to get rid of the storage in here now. So pretty similar to setup to what we've got here with the clay kiln situation. I don't mind just having another little outdoor storage, possibly just next door. I'm going to leave 3 tiles in between it. Just for decoration purposes, and I can get something centralized if I want. I'm going to make this quite wide because we'll just make this like a mass generic storage area here. So fill it in the corner. Everything here but food. Yeah, I think so. Probably carcasses as well. Then same deal again with our support. We want the wooden beams. So we can have our roof over. Again, we can use different types of roofs, but I'm pretty happy with the thatched. And then we'll give this a wooden floor as well. And then once we have that done, I can remove these internal storages. So they aren't walking over everything that they own, essentially. And then we can have a look at turning this into a library in the not too distant future. We don't have any books yet. Customer should be taking care of that. I'm going to reduce hunting slightly for her as well. We've got tons of food in a minute. We can also unlock food preservation for smoking meat, but I'm pretty sure we need culinary level 10 for that, which we don't have anyone anywhere near that just yet. So smoking the meat isn't something available to us. Next generation of goats is also being trained. And we've also got some leather over here as well, which we can use for processing at the tailoring station. There's our hunted carcasses being stored over here. And let's finish up our little farming area here. I think I'll probably leave it at this size now. Then again, do want to have a look at some possible more. Do we have any slows? 6. Any gooseberries? 9. Okay. I'll do a row of slow. And a row of gooseberry. We should have the botany skill to place these. That's 0. It's all 0. Yeah, that's fine. Everyone's happy. And then I'm going to put a gate at the end. And then fence all the way around. Goats will come over and eat your crops, though fencing can be useful. They never do a vast amount of damage. It's never, you know, totally destroyed by food economy by having goats eat the supplies, but just another way you can min-max your efficiencies if you wanted to. So I hope you're all enjoying this game, everyone, because I could play it, honestly, for an awfully long time. I've been thoroughly addicted to this with LANs in the Discord server for a good week. Highly recommend it to you. Wonderful early access project to enjoy, especially if you're into your colony builders. Really an awful lot of fun. Wonderful. So people are constructing, cutting, building, great stuff. I wouldn't mind exploring some limestone, since we have only 98 of it, which isn't a vast amount. But we can see we've got some here. So come and start excavating this. We've got a lot of iron out this way. So I imagine we'll probably have a major pit mine in this bit of the map. Everyone's going to mine. See the goats going to collect those piles. So getting through the spring with your first animals trained is great, because it allows your hauling to become significantly better. Really love the goats. Goats are overpowered if anything. And I don't mind everyone getting a little bit of mining XP because we're going to be doing an awful lot of digging. So if everyone can be somewhat average at it, I'm fairly happy with that. But again, specialising your sims at the start, mining is something you could possibly look at as well. Research is coming. I think I'm going to save... I did want terraform, didn't I? Let's do that now. And... could do that here. Is this all clay here? Yeah, it is. So I'm going to dig out all that clay, or at least just this one, so I can complete my garden. And then once it's dug out, the clay, we can refill it with dirt over here. Terraforming unlocks these individual columns and slopes out of dirt you can place to transition the landscape. Or shape it to how you want it to look, of course. So, very nice. Alma, come and see what's going on with the trader. Let's see what you've got. Let's see what he has. Herbs. We're growing our own flax in pretty plentiful supply now. Although more seedage is always welcome. You can also buy animals from them. Oh, do I want to buy a dog? I would love a dog. It's quite expensive though. Chickens. There's only the one of them. I wouldn't mind maybe a few more quince saplings. Mead is good, but we'll eventually make our own. It's quite expensive as well. And I think I'll go for some more cabbage soon. I think. Yeah, that's all he's got. And we will give you, again, we got quite a lot of books. Also, I'll give you some books and hay. In exchange for more seedlings. So the traders will turn up every now and again. Yeah, they're pretty useful. I wouldn't mind some light in the garden. We'll see then. Let's also add some more torches to the downstairs as well. So we can see. Have a torch in each corner. And this might be the extent I take this root cellar to. And I think that the main castle is likely to have a significantly more elaborate underground structure. But for our initial starter house here, that should suffice quite nicely. So you see now our clay kilns have a under the roof 100% buff. If it was exposed, this would be about 80%, especially when it rains. So the aesthetics have function, which I always appreciate in these games. Going medieval does it wonderfully well. As we come to the start of another day, coming into summer now, I would like her to come and do some books. I'm going to shrink this stockpile here, which you can do in the bottom right corner, to entirely remove it. And then we're going to convert this room now into a library. Well, make strides toward it anyway, because we still need the Scholar's Lectern to turn it into a full library. But with the bookshelves, we can store our books, obviously, without stating the obvious. So I'll have the Scholar's Lectern in the corner. I suppose we could do some war bookshelves. They do hold one less, but that's fine. Do 3 there. And 3 there. And we haven't had that first raid, because they didn't attack us, so I'm going to put the door in here now, so they can get down into the root cellar. And possibly discuss an expansion around the back, which we don't have vast amounts of wood, if any wood at all in the stockpile actually. But it's not the hardest resource to gather. And I wouldn't mind mimicking the entrance down into the root cellar on this side. Let's account for that with the layout. We'll have 2 more here. And then dig out those middle 3 tiles, isn't it? Oh, I guess those 4 as well, because that'll be where the stairs go, and then they'll land here. And then we want those dug out, and those dug out underneath. which will give us another entrance into that area there. Building our bookshelves. Got Donald and Marjorie are now friends due to small talk. Donald's still mining over here. Let's see if there's anything we can send the goats to pick up. Let's go ahead and do another harvest here while we've got so many fruits and vegetables growing. The cabbages are going to seed. Don't want that. Or I could let some go to seed, then I can replant them. How much cabbage seed do we currently have? Yeah, we got 19, it's okay. We're not really short on them. Like those. And then we can also do our first bit of terraforming now. To replace our last section with soil. Which can then be wicker grated up. So our cabbages, the goats will come for the cabbage. You really want to try stockpile as much food as you can for the winter. But it's never really been an issue in all the different runs I've had. I just need someone to dig out this last clay stack here. I think we're going to clear these now we've got some initial limestone. Set the Zara exhausted. They'll head to bed when they're ready. And then this is it. This is the game, everyone. You essentially just keep surviving the raids whenever they turn up. And then keep building out your ideal medieval base. I mean, I could sit here forever. Probably expect to see this game on some live streams, I imagine. More soil in there. And that should let us plant our final crops, which I think we have some carrot seeds left, do we? Only 2. We got more beets and herbs than anything. Do some beets here. We'll obviously place that in once that grows. And the final piece of wicker floor. Which will give us a really basic starter garden. That looks quite cute as well. Not overly important, definitely more aesthetic for that. You don't have to do the wicker floor in here. See, they wake up. They're running down to get some breakfast, which I really want them to cook. And again, do we actually have anyone set to cooking? Yeah, it's all 3 priority, isn't it? 5 is our highest culinary skill, which isn't brilliant. So we'll tell Donald to cook for us. And I'm going to tell Decima to also prioritize production at the research table as well, just so we can start to generate some books alongside the chronicles. Because I would like the librarian sooner rather than later. We do have some idle settlers. Emma, what's your jobs? We'll give you a priority on research as well, since you love it so much. And then also, I think cutting as well. Just so we can chop some more trees. Which we will do over here. Start deforesting the area down toward the lake here. Alongside gathering any and all seasonal produce we come across. And I'm also going to remove this stockpile in the front room as well now. We've got a little brazier here, which can cause fires. I have had one base burn down before. So, something to be aware of, which is why it's worth setting everyone to be priority 1 for firefighting in case it does happen. As they can spread pretty quickly. Wonderful. We've got 1 book now. How much is it we need for the next one? 5 books and 25 chronicles. We'll also eventually produce a thesis via the advanced research table, but that's a little more mid to late game. But same thing, your intellectuals will use that workstation. And we're planting some more red currants here. Great stuff. Flax is nearly ready as well. Cool. Okay, so I think I might want to look to complete the building now. At least visually, anyway. So we'll have a wooden floor here. And then we'll also have a little wooden lip here as well, a little bit of a balcony, if you will. Maybe even 2 layers there, just so I've got... Yeah, it's fine. It's too far from stable structure at that point. Cancel those ones on the end. And then we'll just have this staircase basically arrive here, I think. Although maybe for... Yeah, I think for the top floor, I'm not going to do walls. I'm just going to have a roof, I think. And then we'll build out on some of the floors around the edge too. So again, wooden beams. So the roof has support. That there, and then we'll have our thatched roof. Sit right over the top. And then we're also going to do some more of these wooden merlins here too. Not that I will have a vast amount of defensive structure up here. If they're going to be shooting, they'll shoot from this first balcony. But I think visually, it's quite impactful, isn't it? Which is definitely where my mindset goes playing these games. We'll let that build. We also want a roof for our entrances into the root cellar. Do that as well. And then also another wooden door here. Just zoom down into our layers a little bit. Yeah, it's this one here. Oh, Emma's stuck. He's trapped himself in the room. Oh, some serious apologies, Emma. I was wondering why you were idle. You might have to wait a little bit. Unless I can tell you to... No, I can't prioritize the construction there, can I? How about you delete that? And then, can I get you to prioritize wall deconstruction? There we go. So be careful of accidentally trapping your Sims in the root cellar. It is a real danger. That's the first time I've done that. These guys are going to sleep next to the fire. Our second or first floor, I suppose, technically, has turned into a cat bedroom for Freya. And then we'll have the second one here as a bit of a lookout, I think. Let's also complete the wooden mullions here as well. Great stuff. I think at the back, I'm likely to build a bedroom area, and we can possibly have some fun with like a little dormitory setup. So at least then they have a comfier bed, it'll make them happier, and they're not sleeping on hay by the front door anymore, basically. Let's also take self-tend for Theoric, and you will become... Do we even have any weapons left lying around now? I don't think we do we? No. There's no weapons in the stockpiles. Although we do have a sling here, actually. We've got plenty of other research available now. The cartography table we can't build until someone has 15 construction. So hold off on that for a little bit. Tailoring is good. So we'll go for tailoring first. And then we can build the tailoring station. Which will go in a workshop. A workshop wants at least one armorer's bench. Okay, so we can put our other armory stuff up here when we unlock it. And at least 2 wall tool shelves, which we don't have unlocked yet. I think they're down here. Or is it in the cosmetics? Yeah, it's the cosmetic stuff. Yeah, it's here. So that's 20 bucks away. It's not too far. Well, I think we can turn the second floor then convincingly into a workshop. As a room type, I mean by that. So we'll have our sewing station just here on the exit from the stairs. Our last crop's going in now as well. Great stuff. I could also remove this one as well. Which I think I'm going to, because then I can complete the full crop circle. What do we place here? Beets. Do we have no more beets left? Flax is ripening. Carrots will be done in a day. We've also got some new cabbage seeds over here as well. I'm going to mark all of this stuff in the central hall in the garden actually for haulage. Just so it's out of the way and not sat here on the floor. Oh, did that fall through there again? Well, I dug it on the wrong side, didn't I? Yeah, I did dig that on the wrong side. That's fine. We'll wait for them to dig out the last of that and then we'll reform what's going to happen with it. Whilst they focus on completing the rest of the house here at least. Should still have enough wood for that. Yeah, there's still quite a bit over here. Grab the last of these trees. It's possibly also worth exploring our own tree plantation at some point soon. What sort of sapling situation do we have? Quite a lot of oaks and maple, so let's plant those. So we'll grab field maple here. And we'll place these one tile apart and we'll do it within vicinity of our garden, I suppose. Not that one there. I don't want them to be joined. And then we'll do oaks next door in the same pattern. Just so we can start to grow our own forest. Because we will deplete all the local forest at some point. It does regrow, like you can see the goats have had a little tree grow inside their pen. But not as quickly as the rate you will go through timber, so having your own forests readily available is a nice little tip to have, I think. Let's also go ahead and change the back texture of these walls here to the ones that we have on the second floor, or first floor I suppose. I think we're missing a wooden floor tile there, are we? Yeah, we are. Yeah, I think I've dug down the wrong side here, haven't I? Yeah, I came out to the right. I should have gone into the left instead. But it's fine. I can still make use of that space over there. Wouldn't also mind mapping out some limestone floor as well now, just for a bit of directionality around the base. So we'll have a limestone floor come down to the farm. And then also up to the tree plantation. Out toward the storage piles. And relevant workshops. Just have a little path extend down to each. I'll also do some wooden floor on the inside here. Don't think it's important for the floor of the workshops. Again, it's simply more aesthetic for that. And then we'll just have that one go down there. Use up some of that limestone we have. They'll get a much bigger speed increase from the limestone floors. And we can also fill in that last one there now. Let's make sure this clay and dirt gets hauled as well. We've got loads more over here as well, haven't we? Let's get all this hauled. Let's do another harvest as well. Do you guys have any tips and tricks for going medieval? Again, I don't have hundreds of thousands of hours in this game yet, so feel free to turn the comment section into an array of ideas and suggestions of how to optimize here. I'm sure there are many of them. And we can see our limestone flooring going down. Right, we've also got some roasted meat here as well. That really needs to be hauled away. Don't want that just sat out on the floor like that. Yeah, we can probably relocate the campfire now as well, I think. Now let's have this inside by the brazier. Just so it's not straight out the front door here now. You can cook inside. 3 saplings going in. Raw meat has rotted, unfortunately. Yeah, meal preparation missing. That's because we've just moved it. And just set that to a constant amount of 10 meals. We'll have plenty of food resource, I think, here to keep producing basic meals for them. Plenty of cabbages, carrots, roasted meat, compote, and herbs, although herbs are used in the lavish meal preparation. Someone's going to come in, get himself some cooking XP, and prepare a meal for the good people. So again, just a little waiting around now. Good time to explore your map, possibly have a look at castle locations. Wouldn't mind trying to fit the castle around mean, I guess the river is the most dominant geological feature, isn't it? So probably here, and then we could maybe tunnel into the ground here for different entrances into the castle facility. Could be quite a lot of fun. Suppose we'll see on that. Researchers are still ticking. Let's go ahead and grab melting, I think, next. We do have a couple of smiths. We also built the sewer's table, if they did build it. Yes, we did. No, we don't need to do this just yet. Do we have anyone who loves tailoring? Yeah, Donald doesn't mind it. Although he's not brilliant at it. But I guess the sooner we start. Mining and animal husbandry is other priorities, which aren't constant ongoing things. So I think here we're going to prepare just a small batch of winter clothes. We're probably going to have 6 settlers by the time winter rolls around. So make 6. And we should have linen. Yeah, we've got 225 again. You can click here to see what it wants. So any of these fabrics will be fine, either leather from animals or linen or wool cloth from sheep or flax. And there is the goat picking up the flax seed. Thank you so much, goat. He really is the goat after all, isn't he? Perfect. A new day is done, so they're all complaining of, you know, no decent beds. But we'll get them there. Carry on building. I'm going to carry on, I think, mapping out some of the limestone structures here. At least until the possible edge of this first house, which I might leave there, because we can actually use a limestone fence as a bit of an exit. I'd actually like to make an exit. Why don't we do a couple of limestone walls with a beam in the middle and then like a mini thatched roof, and that can almost be the entrance into, I guess, what's going to be like a little villa, I suppose. And then we'll also grab our limestone fence, and this can form up to run with the fence on the garden, I think. Bring it around the edge. Actually aligns perfectly there, but we'll also add a wooden gate. Just start to give a bit of an encompassing border to the front of the village here. Should look quite nice. Especially that little columns here. Now, I can also change the shape of these pillars. I think I'm pretty happy with the circular stone, to be honest. Harvest these red berries on the end. Lots of new construction work for them to do here. Right, alongside all this stuff up top, for which we might need a bit more wood. So let's grab some more forest. And a bit more harvesting. Let's grab the resources before they disappear for the winter, basically. And do we have any clay bricks yet? No, we've still not made any clay, have we? Let's go for 100. And I'm not sure what job it actually is. Is it crafting? Yeah, the kiln. So we've got no major crafters. Although it's not a skill anyway, so... Who's the least busiest person here? I'm going to make you go for crafting. And then also bump up some other people for priority crafting as well. Just so we can get some clay stuff, because it would be nice to have some clay bricks before we wrap the episode up here today. And I imagine we're going to build something here as well. So I think we'll do our limestone fence up until the back of the building. I think it seems like a good idea. And then we can discuss a possible future expansion at the back of this as well at some point. And then this here, I wouldn't mind turning this into something since we've got this like sunken area, which has a couple of ways down. But I'd only like it to have one way down. So I'm going to remove that slope. And then with the fence, we'll grab the limestone fence again. I'm going to leave a little bit of room away from the edge of the building. If it wouldn't unselect it for me. And then I'm going to have the gate align with the one on the garden. And then the limestone fence can carry on up to there. Cool. And then that'll just isolate it off, and then we can do something else with this here. I imagine the back of the building would expand into a bedroom at some point, or maybe a great hall, but I'm likely probably to save that, I think, for the castle. So we'll see what comes of it anyway. But another day has passed. The limestone in the stockpile is 232, so we should have enough to finish off all this wall work here. Just create our own little first compound starter house that'll sustain us through the first year. We got a good food garden added into the stockpile. Yeah. The biggest complaint right now is just the bed quality of it. Beds are 3 tiles deep, so I can't really replace these ones here. Don't have the room for it. Trees are going down. It's also cut down this tree in the goat pen as well. We're not going to need that. Oh, I forgot to check the merchant, didn't I? Hold on. Wait. Oh, is it too late? Damn it. Oh, yeah, I totally forgot to check him. It's okay though. It's fine. They'll come back. Sometimes they can sell really good things, so it is worth checking them every time. And then the limestone fence can also carry on that direction as well, and we already have a gate in here, so that'll be no problem, although I probably do want a second one. So let's grab a wooden gate to line up with that one there. We'll carry on the limestone floor up to the gate and then down to this one as well. So I think I'm going to replace the wooden floor here with limestone. So double clicking it will grab the whole selection. And she seems to be getting the fuel now. Okay. There we go. Yeah, it was just a priority issue. Usually if they're taking ages to do something, it's low on their list of priorities. So yeah, that'll be fine. It should give us the option to place clay brick tiles anyway once they produce. In a moment's time, I'll deal with the spoilage. And then wait for our big perimeter fence to be built, which is slowly coming on now. Got both of our books being researched. Donald is also tailoring up here as well for our winter clothes, which will be great. Be nice to finally have some of them. Don't have to worry about that quite early on as well. And it's not going to be long before we need another storage, which I think I might build an internal one. Have they finished the top floor preparation yet? No. It's just a case of they've got quite a lot on at the minute. Let's come ahead and mark some of these outer lying trees for deforestation. Do we have clay bricks now? Yes, we do. Perfect. So the clay bricks will now form as a tile and also a wall as well. And I want to draw that all in there. Which clay should have, yeah, 0.8 thermal insulation, which is very tidy. It's only actually 0.5 better than the wooden floor. So it's not that much better, I suppose, but, you know, marginal gains make a difference in these kind of games, I suppose. Theodoric is very nearly done planting the trees over here. And I really like how we can kind of isolate this basin over here. We could even flood it. We could turn it into lakes. We'd have to dig back to the river, which is a monstrous terraforming project, but it's possible. But maybe a garden or something here in this sunken bowl where we can isolate the entrance into the garden. Might be quite fun. Or perhaps a wider, more dramatic looking tiered farm, maybe. A few different options we can use the terrain to our advantage with. 2 researchers available. Beekeeping wouldn't be bad. Beeswax is used for making barrels a little bit later down the line, so having that around would be handy. The skeps want to be in and around plants, of course, for obvious bee-related pollination reasons. Just wondering if there's a that's more efficient area we can place it. Yeah, I think it wants to be in our own farm. See if there's maybe something natural where we can possibly get it in, but it's all pretty low. Okay, well, we didn't plant an area here. 55 plants is happy, so we'll get the bees in there too. The clay furnace is used for producing our metal ingots, but we're not really anywhere close to being able to look at our own metal production yet. Could, however, place it in here by the kilns, which I think I will do. But again, we won't be using that station for a while just yet anyway. So let's talk about a final, I guess, storage barn is what I'm going to go for here. So we'll leave 3 tiles again between the animal pen for any future expansion purposes. Have one there. Doesn't have to be a massive structure. Something like that I'll do. And I am going to make this one a somewhat semi-enclosed space. I'm just going to leave the front door open here with a couple of support beams. And we do also have some other alternate roofs here as well. You can do like half ones if you want, but I don't really see a need for that. We'll do limestone slate roof. Clay shingle roof could also be pretty cool as well. No, I'm going to keep it simple. The wooden roof is fine for me. Or the thatched roof, rather. Cool, and then in here, I'm just going to put some wooden floor down. And then this can also become default stockpile. That is not storing raw material because we have our own dedicated store pile for that, or any food at all. So they can just use that as they see fit, really. Guys heading out here, grabbing the wood to finish their construction projects. Also have a little glance to see if he wants to do any hunting. We've also got another massive clay deposit over here too. There's a little trap deer down here. Food's looking pretty decent so far. We're also starting to get milk come through as well now because the goats are coming of age. We can just watch our little settlement flourish. So let me know what you think of this down in the comments, guys. Do you want to see more Going Medieval? We just wanted to showcase the game today, very much in the vein we did with Tiny Glade, of just saying, like, look how cool and customizable this medieval colony sim is. It's really, I'm enjoying this more than Farthest Frontier, more than Manor Lords. I realise this is a full release now. Manor Lords is still in its beta, so hard to compare. But it's just brilliant. It's so charming. It's got such a nice art style. There's so many different depth systems here, customizing your sims with the right traits to get max efficiency out of them. Just so much. And here's our clay floor going in now as well. So we can also change the walls, which will affect insulation. But I don't think I can actually upgrade them. I have to put them in after the fact, don't I? Unless I come down to this one, will that work? No, it doesn't upgrade. Which is a bit of a shame. I'll have to remove the walls eventually to put them in. But we'll look at that if we start to expand this base further. We have a couple of friendly visits. A merchant caravan, scent of spices on the breeze, preceded the arrival of a merchant caravan, lifting the spirits of Othorpe inhabitants. Did it bring furs, cloth, or tidings from the wider world? I have so much to offer you, good people, the mercer cried out. Come, let's make a deal. Let's, shall we? Let's. Where are you? We'll be heading over here at some point. And a lone traveller. A rangy hawker empties their pack, spreading a selection of oddments on a linen cloth on the ground. I buy and sell things that take my fancy on the road, they say with a crooked smile. Take a look if you like. I do like. Right, once you arrive, we'll have a look anyway. Cool, so construction's slowed down a little bit here now. Wouldn't mind prioritising it a few more amongst the people. Donald has 16 construction. Let's move to priority 1 for you outside of animal husbandry. I actually wonder, let me just check something here with the goats. If I do assign one of the hauling goats to Donald, will he start becoming a construction goat, I wonder? At least helping him move the materials around rather than leaving them as generic haulage goats, if you like. Not sure what the meta would be there, to assign them to a sim, or to actually just let them free roam and basically take the low-hanging fruit, if you like. Cool, let's also finish off some wood flooring here. Add another one into that one there. And that should be mostly it. Let's come ahead and change our roof tiles here. For every alternate one, just to change up the shape a little bit. Same there as well. And they haven't built the master roof yet. But when they do, we can already pre-select them, every other one. And we'll do that little raised mini roof there, I think. And then next episode, if you guys want to see more, we can have a look at more underground facilities. Establishing more rooms, some bedrooms for them so they don't have to keep sleeping here. Let me know if you're interested in that, because I quite happily played this game forever. It is really wonderful. Also got some more harvestables in the garden. Make sure we grab these. Our first quinces and apples are also ready. Great news. Oh, wonderful. We have some hostile animals. So some hostile foxes have entered the map. They will hang around for a little bit. We can hunt them. They might also attack other animals as well. Which is the ideal scenario, because if they do, they leave kind of a horde of animal corpses behind them, but it looks like they're pretty trapped on this cliff here. The only way down is over here, so I think they'll be okay. It's quite far from where we are as well. But something to bear in mind if anyone goes over there. They might get injured. Donald Hyde is now construction 17. Let's also cut this tree down in the goat pen as well. And some of these behind the houses. Touch more harvesting as well. Marjorie Fox is construction level 7. Starting to take this off now. Entertainment 2 would also be quite nice to grab. Well, Entertainment 1 I suppose down here. But we're not really doing a lot of research. Research is quite good to save for the winter. When it's much harsher outside, I tend to do a lot of mining and researching in winter. A bit of advice from the wonderful lands there. So I'm happy for them to tick off all this other stuff here. Let's also add a couple of wooden torches around the place as well. Maybe out the front here. And then we'll have some wooden torches on the entrance to our storage. After the autosave. There you go, hostile animals have left the area. Not too much of an event there. And then I wouldn't mind, I think, a little bit of light in here as well. We can also add some windows to the structure. It's looking a little bit cubey at the minute, isn't it? So we'll have a window here and here. And then either side of that one there. And I eventually imagine we'll probably knock this back wall out and continue. Oh no, because I want this to be a library, don't I? Yeah, I'll just leave these side rooms off if you want to go into the next room over there. That shouldn't be too bad at all. construction failed. Sometimes that will happen with low skill workers, but someone will come and attempt it again. As a side note as well, the torches both on the wall and the ground, they do require fuel. They won't just infinitely burn. So overplacing many of them can be something of a drain on your fuel resource, so something to also note as well. I thought, looks like the roof is going up here now, is it? This is honestly the best bit of the game right here. Watching them build, watching your castles and your halls, your forts, towers come to life. Of course, all which has to have structural integrity, as we found out today with our floors caving in. So, honestly, such a fun game, everyone. Such a wildly fun game. Can't recommend it all to you enough. It's certainly coming up for the last of the construction projects here, as it does. Grabbing the wood from the stockpile. And looks like we'll be able to finish off with a merchant arriving here as well. He's come with a little band of merry men. He also has his own perks as well. Not sure if we can possibly recruit the merchants in any capacity. Let's grab one of our own. Come here, Decimat. Come and trade with the merchant. Any trouble on your travels? I heard about a bandit camp near Colsterworth. I'd stay clear of it. Someone should do something about them. Point of interest is available, and we can't view this until we have the cartography table, which is a research here. So we won't be making use of that yet, because there's so many people here. Holy crap. Let me trade with Nicholas. See what you've got. So again, we'll filter for everything he has. He's selling quite a lot of handbooks, silver ingot, quite a late game item that. Bear leather. Decorative clay tiles. Eggs could be quite cool for obvious reasons. I might take a couple of eggs. This guy's got a load of stuff. This guy's a good trader. I'm going to take some quince saplings. You can also buy furniture from them as well. He's also selling armor and a lot of really good military stuff, actually, like superior great helms, but they're insanely expensive. So not something we want to do just yet. And then I'll sell you a couple of books for the seeds and eggs I'm taking from you. Donald Hyde is now animal handling level 28. That's great news. Some roasted meat has gone rotten, but again, food is kind of wild here at the minute. 208 cabbage, just like in Manor, cabbage is very overpowered. Always seems to be in these colony sims, doesn't it? Let's have a harvest for our garden as well. Sweet. We're not getting apples and quinces. I wouldn't mind planting the rest of those quince trees, actually. How many apple saplings do we have? 1 and then 3 quinces. Okay, so we'll do the apple tree here. And then the 3 quinces next door, although let's not have it go there. You want to leave space between the trees, otherwise it can stunt their growth, which is why I'm doing them 1 tile apart. Sweet. And that is our exterior built. Which feels like a nice place to leave the episode there, I think, just at the end of summer after a few hours, but giving ourselves a really nice starter home. There's also a little screenshot mode here as well we can take. Although it doesn't, unfortunately, play the simulation. But let me know what you think of Going Medieval, guys. If you want to pick it up, you can grab it down below in Instant Gaming for very cheap. That does help directly support the channel. But I thoroughly enjoy this game. There's a surprising amount of depth available here, both in the simulation and the building and the world management. So if you're into your colony sims, I'd probably say this is one of the best, if not the best, on the market at the minute. And I'd love to see Motherboard take some inspiration from many of the different systems at play here. I think there's a lot to learn. Otherwise, an enormous shout out to the YouTube members and patrons that bankroll these videos. Links down below to both if you are interested. Otherwise, I'll shut up and leave it there. Thank you all so much for watching. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.